came across another big raft of photos. So they're all mixed. So I'll just show you as go through them or talk about them as we go through them. This was a pic from early 90s, probably when I was about 20. So 30 years ago, easily. You'll see a little Diola that I got off a wall of a store in Poplar Point, I think. And it was face down. That part was against the wall, but I recognized the cabinet and took it off, and sure enough, it was a Diola. And this back here, this green thing, is actually a 1930s or late 1920s, but probably 30s because I believe it had a green border, Coca-Cola kick plate, straight off a door, and a Five Roses flower sign, also I think picked from Poplar Point, and it was covering a log pile, or was on a log pile and was ready to be disposed of. So I got there just in time to rescue that. But yeah, so you can see other little smalls and such in there as well. Fireman's alarm box, and neat little light up Emerson radio sign. I think that one still resides in Neepawa, Manitoba at the moment. And let's see. And this is a cookie jar. Cookie jars were hot there for a while, but that was a really good cookie jar. A football theme. And I acquired some of these from one of the big department stores, either Hudson's Bay or Eaton's, I'm not sure which. They had them for sale, and I grabbed all of them. Sold them quite readily. And this was a few of these came out, not many, but a few. These plastic and tin airplanes, battery-op airplanes, again, early 1990s. And you'll see part of a big white rose, or not a white rose, a big Five Roses flower, Robin Hood flower sign in the back there. And this was a display in my kitchen for quite some time. All my little tiny smalls and soda. You'll see various soda glasses up here. Pepsi's, Winola, Lethbridge Beverages, Two-Way, Coca-Cola. Yeah, and various bits and pieces. Some great little tins and such. A neat Servue tin, which was a Winnipeg can as well. All kinds of cool bits. And this was actually these are biscuit displays. You'll see those tops that actually slide onto the top of biscuit containers, biscuit tins, that look like little showcase doors, basically. And these are what the tins sit on. And they were wood, and the sign that was on them was this Weston's English Quality Biscuits sign. The displays themselves were hard to sell, so I just sold the signs and sold the displays later for a minimal amount. Now people want originality and would have taken the whole display, but unfortunately at the time they were separated. Another round. This Coca-Cola piece is not original. It's probably a 1990s or 80s creation, but a bunch of them were made, I think, in Vancouver or somewhere like that. Some neat pieces that you may not spot right away. This is off of Fairbanks Morris scale. This is a chalk weight for Bulk Colander Company, or for the Bulk Colander Company for pool chalk. It would have chalk would have been on a string hanging from the ceiling, and this was the weight, that the counterweight on the other end of it, that kept it up in the air. And this is a fire alarm system, and this is a Shinola shoehorn for Shinola shoe shine wax. and or shoe shine polish. If you've heard the term, you don't know shit from Shinola, that's where it comes from, is Shinola black shoe polish. And this is a Kings Old County Beverages sign as well. And you'll see other pieces there. There's a very rare Coca-Cola tin Linmar Coca-Cola truck there. And here's a Antelope tin. I think I may have shown you a photo of this one previously. And this was some show somewhere. I'm really not sure where, whether it was Calgary or one of those, but I would have traveled with all of that merchandise in my Chevette, more than likely. That's probably from that time period, or so early on in the early 90s. That one, actually that might have been Vancouver. Not sure. Anyway, there it is again. That's the side display. You can pause these at any time to get a close-up if you like. But I had quite a few neat pieces. There's a neat Sunoco sign there. Red Rose Tea. There's several of these came out over the years. Lightning Rod Weather Vane up there. And these were all type blocks down here. I acquired thousands of those at one time and cleaned and buffed lots of them. Sold tons and tons of those. Another view of that show booth as well. And get another view. So yeah. And this is one of my first, well, not one of my first picks, but a first pick from the U.S. when traveled to the U.S. was a Four Roses light up clock I got from some junk store down in Minneapolis or Minot or somewhere like that. And pinball machine I acquired. This was probably at the Portage store in the mid 1990s. Bakelite galore, lots of it. With a Meerschaum pipe. I think I may have showed you this photo as well. Might be a duplicate. More Bakelite. Lots of it. Space Cadet book. Wind-up Bear. Marks or Wyandotte truck. I think that's Marks. Another space car. Spaceship. And other pieces. So in this one we see some cool pieces. There's a great player's sign here with a kind of a reflective or refractive sign on it there. Cool piece. Wish I had it now. That would be a great piece to have. And this is all pre-eBay sort of stuff. And you can see there's a whole bunch of cast iron figure openers in the back corner here. Lots of just neat stuff. Okay, that's a corner that isn't mine. That's from a one of my consigners, I guess, in my Portage store. Oh, this is a real far throwback. This is my setup at a flea market in St. Vital, I believe, or a show at, no, I think that's St. Vital. Yeah, that's a St. Vital flea market. Probably when I was 18, I guess. That's probably when that was. 18, 19 years old. Something like that. Heavy on the bottles. Lots of manuals and kind of guy stuff, of course. Lots of neat. There was lots of neat stuff I came up with a fair bit, of course. Anyway, and this is Portage Avenue again. You'll see quite a bit toy-wise, of course. There's a lot of neat pieces there. Kind of a neat Hanna-Barbera tray down here. A-Team van right there, Knight Rider car beside it. Looks like a Lincoln or possibly Marks or something. A grader there. This was my Portage store again. You'll see some Mexican signs on the wall here. When I went to Puerto Vallarta, I bought lots of tin Mexican signs. They were using tin and aluminum at the time. And I came home with something like 65 Mexican signs. I got so bored in the last... I was there for 2 weeks, and the last week I went around buying signs. Went picking Puerto Vallarta. Buying signs from the local vendors and such for 8 pesos, which was $2 Canadian at the time. And they were happy as heck to sell these signs to me, so I ended up with quite a few. A lot of Pepsi, Coke. You'll see Disfruta, Mexican Coca-Cola signs, flange signs that are kicking around. Most of those probably came from me. And within a year or two, we went back to Puerto Vallarta, and those same ones that I hadn't bought were faded to white. So they didn't last long in their weather. So the ones that are kicking around now in Winnipeg and area are probably some of the few that survived, more than likely. But they are Mexican, and they date from the early 90s. Anyway, that's a story on them. You'll see lots of other stuff there. I had a lot of chocolate signs from Mars as well. It's a Smiles and Chuckles. Yeah, just had lots of stuff. Anyway, there's a Batmobile model kit, original 60s kit, and there's a White Rose outboard motor oil, an Arco bottle, and you'll see a few other pieces in the background there. Husky Oil Company certificates. I've had several of those that I had picked up. There's another one. I think that's the same one. That's a duplicate. Anglo and GM can. I think I may have shown you those in a previous video. I had a few of these. These were placemats used by restaurants that were in BA stations. So Nash dealer building plans. That was a cool piece. Oh, there's another envelope. A lot of cans, a lot of tins of all kinds there. I'll just hold it there for a few seconds so you can see what's all there. Some really neat tins. And this was some of the display bottles I ended up with. These are cognac and such, and that's an Obsession. Perfume Factice is what they call them. There's another Factice right there. But that's what they call the perfume display bottles, or Factice. And I've had quite a few of these that I obtained from Chesley's Resort in the Interlake. But these ones aren't from there. These were from another pick I had done, and they're corners from screen doors. That's what they were used for, to strengthen around the windows of screen doors. There was this corner style, and then there was a style that went on the top corners as well. And that's a sign out of a cooler. Would have been out of a Glasscock cooler, more than likely. There's a Chevron starting fluid. I have 4 of them. Some VA cans, special gasoline and outboard motor oil. You can see some cigarette packs and such in the top as well. Some full packs, some Buckingham, Sportsman's, and another one there that I can't quite make out. William Penn and North Star grease. Those are some nice tins there. 1914 Canadian porcelain or Manitoba porcelain license plate. And it's a palindrome, which is a number that it can be read the same way backwards and forwards, so that was a little more valuable than average. Tiger Shooting Gallery with the Esso Tiger. I think you saw that in a previous video. Westinghouse bulb display. Yeah, that was for fluorescent tubes at the time. So early, probably 50s, 60s as well. And what else do we have? Aeroshell or Rimula shell oil, quartz. Again, you can see some of the tobacco packages in the background, right in there. Donax, that's a French, a can from France, the Donax. And the Transol, that's a little bit special. That's from Henderson Oil Company. If you happen to collect quartz, there's a rare can for you. They don't show up that often because most guys took the labels off them because there's usually a mint condition antelope can underneath. So yeah, that's why they don't show up. But yeah, rare can for you. Some Crico tins. Some Mont Blanc fountain pens. Or sorry, Montclair, not Mont Blanc, Montclair. Another shot of the jukebox. I think I've showed you that one probably in a previous video, but you can see a lot of other neat cans there. There's a kind of a neat talc tin. Yeah, love to go back and just pick my old store. Anyway, and a couple Trechakovs right here and here, these two, and various pieces you can see. I had a kind of a book area as well with a lot of reference books. This is Antique Show from the Manitoba Antique Association from probably about 1990 is when it was, or 89 thereabouts. So that was early in my career. I had come across about three dozen or so of these honey cans. Again, I was heavy on bottles, of course. There's that Four Roses clock, Four Roses whiskey. That's early in my career. See a Coke cooler down here, some CPR insulators and such down there. And that is a shot of just type trays. Hundreds of type trays, probably 400, something like that. I had bought lots of them. There's some of them there. Yeah, I had bought tons and tons of them in the mid-1990s and sold every last one of them. I wholesaled them 50 at a time to dealers as well, and they bought quite a few. I did quite well on those. Never be afraid to buy quantity if you can, especially if you know if you can move the stuff and the price was right. And here's a theater marquee. It would have had advertising in there, and it was neon around the inside. That was kind of a neat piece. There's a Clearex sign. Clearex was made in Winnipeg. Kind of has a horror-looking effect. It was actually for eczema. There's a Mexican Fiesta cigarette sign. And some Aurora models up here as well. But Clearex, anyway, it was a Winnipeg company, and that their tins were kind of boring, but their advertising was kind of cool. You can see. There's a Hawaiian surfing sign for 7-Up for one of their promotions. I ended up with a stack of these that I purchased from another dealer. Sunburn, Murder, Sleep for an eczema. Kind of a neat trolley car bus sign. Beauty shop sign. I bought 2 or 4 of these direct from Marvy Signs themselves out of Minneapolis. They still had new old stock of these signs and were selling them out of their warehouse. But at the time, they were selling them for pretty much what they were worth. So I didn't make a whole lot on them, $20 or something like that, because they were over $100 a piece. But they were still new in the box. There's a piece of one of the Coca-Cola signs, Disfruta Coca-Cola. So drink Coca-Cola, I think, in Mexican. There's a little Johnny Walker. That was a neat little bar display. That's Tin Litho. It's a neat little Tin Litho sign. Oh, I'm being paged. Anyway, there was some of these came out. They were from the 80s or late 70s. That's when the exploding bottles came out. That's what those are. The big bottles that fell over, and they were glass with a screw top, and they would explode, or theoretically they would explode. But these were the kind of the last signs that were given out for free by Coca-Cola, or considered some of the last ones. Anyway, I'm going to end it there and make this video somewhat short. I've got still tons of photos, so I'm going to do a couple more videos at least of some of these past pics. So if you're enjoying them, please comment below and let me know that you're enjoying these particular videos, and I'll do more of them for you. Otherwise, I'll just pace myself and do a few here and there. But we'll do more if you're really enjoying them. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep watching and subscribe. And happy picking. Take care.